We got Wally on the air. This is cool. All right, we're going to go to him in a minute. He's going to a quiet room. He's probably preparing for Batman 3, and he's taking the time out to call into the show.
If we got the ending to that movie, huge news.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure Wally think it was the ending of Batman 3.
Give us everything. I want the script. Send it to me.
Well, for people out there who are just tuning in, I just went on like a 15-minute epic rant about Inception not getting nominated for Best Director and Best Editing, which is the biggest bunch of BS I've ever heard in my entire life. We can't curse on the radio, obviously. But who better to talk to about it than the guy who shot the whole thing, Wally Pfister. Wally, how you doing, man?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Dude,
wonderful.
It's an honor to have you back on again. Obviously, my co-host Josh is with me.
Oh, he remembers me. I'm very charismatic.
Gosh,
Dude,
of course.
Thank you.
Dude, we had so much fun. We talked
the last
to him.
interview was great.
I think it was like June, right before Inception.
I think it was around May because it was like Inception came out in July. I think it was a couple months, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had him on.
Oh, I forgot that was before Inception came out. I thought that was right after it came out.
No, we were talking about the rotating zero gravity room, and you were telling us about it before the movie came out.
I didn't
awesome.
know. He was telling us about it, and then we finally
You're like,
saw
what
it.
the?
Yeah. What's going on? All right. Well, first of all, I've been depressed since Tuesday. I've actually gone on antidepressants.
Oh my God.
I mean, can you believe? I mean, honestly, Wally, can you? Well, first of all, let's congratulate you on your Oscar nomination.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
clap.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's really cool, but really in a strange way, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, obviously, I did my part, but it's insane that Chris didn't get a nomination for direction. I mean, particularly when all the so-called below the line categories, technical categories, are getting all these accolades. I mean, I got to tell you, I've been working with Chris for 12 years, and I've done every single movie of his except Following.
Right.
And look, it's a great big collaboration, and there's no way I'm able to do what I do and light the way I light and block the way I block with the camera without Chris. And I'm his sort of I'm his visual storyteller, but it's really we don't do nothing without that guy saying saying that's right or that's wrong or we're going to do it this way or that way. And it's the same with everybody that got nominated. It's in conjunction with Inception for 8 nominations. It's insane for a leader that's that strong to not be included in that group. And then on top of that, the fact that Lee Smith, the editor, was not included. I swear to God, if somebody had called me the night before and said, "I'm going to bet you $10,000 Lee is not going to get a nomination," I would have lost $10,000 the next morning.
Dude.
We were positive that he was going to get it. In fact, I thought he was in a better place for winning the Oscar than I was, really. I mean, it was so obvious. And it's weird. I mean, I don't know if you guys know the way the Academy works, but they're voted for by the branches. Mm-hmm. In other words, it's the cinematographer's branch of the Academy that voted for me. It's the editor's branch, the Academy that didn't vote for Lee, and it's the director's branch of the Academy that didn't vote for Chris. So it's weird.
Well, that's why we were talking to Kevin Smith today, and I brought up the whole Christopher Nolan thing because he's an Academy voter, and I said, dude. I'm like, what the hell do you think happened? And he goes, I have no idea. I was like, well, listen, here's what you have to do. Just write Chris Nolan's name down when you get the ballot. Just write
that's awesome.
Just write his name.
My God, that's a great idea. Write his ballot.
Just write his name down.
Do they have an empty slot for that? Like other?
He said there's write-ins. You can write
You
it
should totally do that.
Dude.
You can't do that, but if everybody was on board and sort of, kind of, there was a bit of a revolution. Because obviously, like a lot of cats are in the Academy are out of touch. It's sort of, I better watch what I say, or I'm but at the same time, we're incensed about it. And Hans Zimmer came out and said something publicly about it too. And we don't get it because Chris is a strong leader. And that's cool that Kevin Smith said something as well, because I think some of the directors feel that way too. And look, the Academy branch probably includes a lot of people that are a little bit out of touch. And then the other thing to realize too is that, look, Inception made almost $900 million worldwide. So when it comes awards season and including sort of how the critics perceive your work, it's always an uphill battle if your movie's made a lot of money because it's now perceived as being commercial. And, is a commercial film acceptable artistically? I think in this case, yes, but I think that's a tough one for people to grasp sometimes. he's in the academy. I don't know.
Now, Wally, there's 3 questions I have to ask you before before this we let you go or before the interview goes on, because I've seen Inception so many times. I know there's many different theories out there. I know there's not a right answer. I know it's all up to us. I understand that.
Exactly.
I know Nolan did that on purpose.
He did it on Memento too, by the way.
Of course. And Wally actually shot Memento as well, which is really cool. I have a theory, and I just want to run it by you. And obviously, if you can comment on it, obviously it's not right or wrong, but you remember this? I mean, obviously you remember the scene. You shot it. This the scene when Leo goes down to that dark pit area, like right before they get on the plane, and he goes into the dreams, like that weird guy puts him under, and then he wakes up, and he goes to the bathroom, right?
Yes.
Okay, he spins his totem in that scene, but before he could spin it, Ken Watanabe walks into the bathroom. It knocks off the sink.
Right.
So he was trying to figure out if he was still dreaming.
That's correct.
Could it be a theory that from that point on the movie's a dream?
It's definitely a very clever interpretation that is the point where it could shift in that way. I think there are a lot of these theories, and listen, I'm far too stupid to be able to figure out that stuff, and probably way too into the film. But there are a lot of the theories that so much of it is a dream, and certainly by the end you're left in limbo. But I think that's pretty clever assessment that that's the moment where there could be a turn.
If I ever interview Nolan, I have to ask him that.
Yeah, he won't answer nothing.
Well, of course he won't. Now,
I know.
Now, let me give you my theory
Loves
here.
the game.
My theory is very simple. Now, throughout the movie, when they're in the dream world and they spin the thing, it spins nonstop. It doesn't stop. It doesn't wobble. At the end of the movie, it
starts to
wobbles.
wobble.
It's spinning, then it wobbles and it cuts. It falls. He's out of the dream. Done. Win.
I love it. That's another potential theory.
Thank you.
Like I said, he loves messing with you like that, Chris. That is, he loves leaving the films ambiguous and loves leaving, and that's why I think audiences, like most of the audiences that I saw that with, because I creeped into a couple of theaters.
Of course.
They get a good chuckle at the end of that movie, and they realize they're being played a little bit. And, and I think that's one of the things they enjoy about Chris.
Because everyone's watching so intently.
Oh, my God.
And they're like, oh, my God, is he going to fall? At the end of that movie, I remember everyone going, oh, because everyone wanted to know.
That's exactly what Nolan wanted.
And then one girl in the back goes, I hated that ending. I'm like, oh, come on. Like, you can't have everything spelled out for you. I love that ending.
Wally, when you set up that shot, and this is now, okay, this question's going to be outside of the movie world. Now we're just talking about you shooting it.
Okay.
When you set up that shot at the end, that last shot, and you're zoomed in right there on that totem, do you remember it? I mean, do you remember after you cut the camera or whatever? Do you remember it falling? Do you remember how long it took to fall?
Oh, that's a good one. I'll tell you what, I don't remember specifically, but I remember that we got it exactly the way Chris wanted in far fewer takes than we would have expected. I was like, all right, I know what you want, dude, and, sit back and relax because, we ain't going to get this quick. It's probably going to be 15, 20 takes before we get it exactly the way. And lo and behold, Chris has got an amazing memory, so I'm certain he could say exactly what take number. Also, he was in the cutting room, so he could.
Right.
But I think we got it probably on like the third or fourth take, which is really sort of how we make all these films. We sort of make our own luck. All this stuff sort of works in our favor. And oddly enough, I'll let you in on a bit of an inside secret of how Chris and I work together, is we always kind of expect the worst case scenario when we're planning a film. If we're hoping for clouds, we're going to assume that it's going to be a sunny day.
Right.
If we're hoping we're going to finish a scene in half a day, we're assuming it's going to take a full day, and then we're kind of pleasantly surprised when it works out, in our favor. And that is sort of the game of making our own luck.
Now, Wally, when you're shooting, the scene when Ellen and Leo are walking through the dream world, and the obviously the roads come up and kind of go on top of them. Explain to me what it looked like when you were shooting it. Like when Leo and Ellen walk like into that road and start walking upward? You know, I mean, what did that look like when you were shooting it? Like, what did they really do when you were shooting that scene?
Well, in actuality, what we did was all the rest of the stuff is shot completely, organically natural. I had a camera on my shoulder, it was handheld, and I really just walked along with Leo and Ellen on the street, both in front and behind. For that particular moment, it actually became quite complex because you've got to then take them up to a horizontal position from the vertical position to walk up that.
Right.
So what we did in Paris was we had a shot from behind them, shot against a green screen. So we created their outline there. And then many months later, at Universal Studios, we built this enormous rotating set that had a green screen on one end and had the two Paris street surfaces on two ends. So there were two surfaces. So we rotated this giant drum, and they were able to step from one surface to another. And then they comped in the background, the plate that we shot in Paris, over the background, to the side of them, behind them.
It's a seamless shot. When you actually watch it, you can't even tell.
He just said there was months in between that, and just for that one shot, you guys put so much effort into this. It's mind blowing.
I should clarify. It didn't take months to shoot it.
In between.
Yeah, exactly.
But
in between,
still.
that was in Paris, and in between we went to Morocco. We went to.
Hello. Hey, Wally. Sorry about that, man. Our phone's dropped out.
Oh, that's okay, no problem. I figured the engineer just wasn't happy with the answer. And
right. All right. So we were talking about the scene. By the way, our buddy Brendan Conley's on the line as well. He's from the UK. He writes for bleedingcool.com. We're gonna talk to him after we talk to you. But
great.
And he can throw in some questions too because he's really, really into film. But we're talking about the scene, obviously, where Leo and Ellen, hit that walk and they start walking up kind of horizontally, I guess, or vertically, however you want to say it. And you actually built a set later on. You said you were saying about that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the thing was massive. We built a floor, like a cobblestone floor, and then a second cobblestone floor perpendicular to that on this. Yeah, I think those are about 20 by 20, the dimensions of that, and in kind of a profile, which is how the shot's used. And then behind that is a green screen. So we shoot a plate in Paris for that background, and that kind of rotates. And then we put Leo and Ellen on that drum, and then the camera is fixed to that drum as it rotates, and that allows them to step from surface A to surface B and make it look like they're walking up a wall.
All right. Well, now the scene that deserves Best Director, Best Picture, Best Cinematographer, Best Everything is obviously the zero gravity fight sequence.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And everybody cheers in the theater when that's over. I really got a kick out of that. I didn't expect it.
Well, talk about how that was shot. The camera wasn't moving, right?
Yeah, correct. What we did was we built we've got this huge airship hangar about an hour and a half outside of London that we've actually been shooting since 2003. We shot quite a bit of Batman Begins on that stage. We returned to it for The Dark Knight and went back again for that sequence in Inception. It's a huge stage. This phenomenal effects coordinator that we've been using for years, a guy named Chris Corbold, who's done countless Bond pictures and kind of the best effects person imaginable. He built this incredible rotating set. I think it's about 160 feet long, and then a normal sort of hotel corridor that we could rotate 360 degrees at as much as 10 revolutions per minute.
Wow.
So they built this thing, and it blew our minds. I built all the lighting into the set so it could rotate with it. Once we threw Joseph Gordon-Levitt in there, who not only is a phenomenal actor, but just completely blew our minds at his physical ability.
Right.
The stuntmen, like after a week of rehearsal, the stunt coordinator was just bragging about how agile Joe was and how great he was doing the sequence. So when it came time to film, it was incredible, and we got it very quickly. So we basically did it with two different methods. We had one camera on a large crane that sort of poked its nose into that rotating hallway, allowed the hallway to rotate around the camera. That's the way of showing to the audience that this thing is actually rotating and is in motion.
Right.
And I believe Chris only used a real short bit of that, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, just to give the audience some grounding as to what's going on. Then we had another camera that's fixed to a track in the floor, and the track in the floor was hidden by the stripes in the carpet, so we could dolly up and down that set as the set's rotating, and the camera's moving upside down, and the camera's fixed to the set. So there's no, when it hits the screen, you don't see any movement of the hallway itself. You just see this bizarre, gravity shift on the characters that are fighting, and in some cases, I guess Joe's walking through the hallway as well.
So, Wally, where? All right. So, where are you? Cause, for people out there who don't, we're talking to Wally Pfister and the director. Cinematographer of Inception, and he was just nominated for an Oscar. Congratulations to you again. We talked earlier about Chris not getting the nomination and Lee not getting the nomination, which is absolutely absurd. And we're talking about the zero gravity fight sequence, which is unbelievable. Where are you actually sitting in the corridor while it's spinning?
Actually, while all this is going on, I was in a pub down the street. They called me back and said, "Okay, we're done." And I came back and pretended that I never left. And then I got an Oscar nomination.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Yeah, Wally was not there. He was, you know what happened? He was actually on our show that night.
That's what he was doing. I don't need to film this sequence. Whatever.
No, what I meant is where are you located? Like, are you in the corridor with Joseph and those
basically, with those 2 camera rigs, they're both remotely controlled cameras. So we had sort of an operating station that was outside of that hallway on a platform. We built this massive platform outside the hallway. So Chris and myself and my second camera operator are sitting on this platform with remote heads that control those cameras so we can pan and tilt. And then my dolly grip had a remote control to allow that camera sled, if you will, to slide up and down the hallway. And then another camera, another one of our grips was controlling the crane arm, which is a telescoping crane arm that went up and down the hallway. So we're all right there, off the set. Now, in all fairness to Joe, Chris made us all go in, myself and the first AD, the assistant director, myself, and some of my guys, and we rode the set with Joe so we could all have some understanding, as to what this actor was about to go through and had been going through in rehearsals. So we all were really clear on what was going on. And really the cleverness in the end, and this, by the way, Kevin and Josh, is why you're right. This is why Chris, seriously belongs not only as nominated for Best Director, but should be walking home with a golden statue for Best Director.
Right.
It's his cleverness in putting this together.
Right.
So what he really created, we had 2 different sets. We had that set that rotated, and that was the horizontal set. We also built a vertical hallway set where the camera is looking straight up into it. So it's sort of hard to describe verbally, but if you saw the pictures, it would sort of blow your mind. So we were able to, when it comes time for somebody to fall, now they're on a descender and they can come flying directly at us. So for the zero-G material, with Joe alone, and when Joe's navigating through the hallway, it was a combination of stuff shot on the horizontal hallway and the vertical hallway. And the horizontal hallway is anything where he's kind of floating along at floor level, and then the camera cuts to the vertical hallway when he needs to spin. And at that point, he's hanging on a wire, and the camera's looking directly up into this. Now, Chris and Lee Smith, his editor, cut this together so cleverly with these 2 identical hallways that it really fools the audience.
It's
the
amazing.
moment you think you've got it figured out how we did it, he cuts to the other set and the other camera positions, and it really throws you. And in throwing you stop thinking about how it's done, and then you're completely engulfed in the film itself and in what's going on. So through that kind of clever trickery, and by the way, no visual effects at all. These are all mechanical effects. This is, in the spirit of Stanley Kubrick, this is all stuff that we did in camera on that set, and the only visual effect involved is removing wires that the actors are hanging on. So this, to me, is not only, original storytelling, clever and brilliant execution, and great editing. So So this is that's a great example of one of the reasons we should all be upset that Chris and Lee were not recognized.
Unreal.
Well, I'm just curious now. Have you talked to Nolan? Is he bitter? Is he pissed?
How
salty is he?
I actually found out that I was nominated for the Oscar, got on an airplane to New York to meet Chris because scouting for the new movie. So the whole ride on the airplane, I'm just shaking my head and going, I know I got to get off this plane and go scouting with Chris.
Gosh.
And Chris is a tough guy, and he's been in Hollywood for long enough. And I just got off the plane, and he said congratulations, and I said, I call BS. And we had, we didn't talk about it much that day. We were scouting for Dark Knight Rises, and we're well into that. And he basically, later on that night, we sat and we had a couple of glasses of champagne, and I had to kind of remind him, oh, by the way, you're still nominated for 2 Oscars.
Yeah, right. Best Picture, which is a big deal.
And believe me, Chris is he and Emma are the producers. It's
right.
It's a kind of a family unit. It's Chris and his wife Emma Thomas are the producers of the film, and they're both fantastic producers, and they watch how the money's being spent, and they put it on the screen. And so Chris was nominated as for Best Picture, being a producer.
So he's not bitter then.
He's not bitter.
No, and also nominated for screenplay. So, but obviously the prize was really acknowing his work as a director.
He'll get it in the future. We know he will.
We will.
That's what everybody's been saying.
Yeah.
Everybody's been saying it.
Well, let me ask you a question, and I feel comfortable asking you this because I think Inception is pretty much close to perfect. I mean, I can't think of any issues. There's one shot, and I watched this movie 15 million times.
Right.
And
he's not exaggerating.
Every
either.
time I watch it, I always wish, for some reason, and you were there and you shot it, so I'm curious how long you held the shot for.
Right.
That scene when Maul jumps off, she kills herself.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Leo's reaction.
Yeah.
And he's about to cry. For some reason, I always wanted that shot to be held longer. Like I wish they he cries and then they cut it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Leo killed that scene.
It's a great scene.
When the chips are down, man, Leo is such a phenomenal actor.
That's what I'm saying. I wanted to see him. I wanted to see him break down more.
No one in Hollywood can cry like him.
He's the best
we
crier.
Want more crying.
I want to because it's a great shot and it's perfect. Yeah. But did you shoot it longer than what we saw?
I'm certain we did, and we get plenty of takes of it. So it really was a decision that Chris, and Lee would have made in the cutting room. And look, I'm certain they had a reason for it. It is part of a flashback thing, and I don't know whether it cuts right back to Ellen at that point, or whether where exactly he goes with it. But that's interesting to hear you say that. And now I have to go back and look at it to see what my opinion is, because it didn't strike me at the time.
Every time I watch it, Wally, I literally I pray for 2 or 3 more seconds of just because did you see Shutter Island?
I did see Shutter Island. Yeah.
All right, when he finds his kids in the lake and then he looks up and just breaks down.
It's a devastating scene.
I lose it.
It's bad.
It's literally, and again, Inception's my #1 movie of the year, so I feel comfortable saying this. I just wish, that scene, I wanted to see him go a couple more seconds, because he goes, Jesus, and he starts crying, and then they cut it immediately.
That's interesting. I'll check it out. I'll look into it. And look, if I agree with you, I'll send you. I'll go in there and see if we can get raw footage, and I'll send you those extra.
Please, I want to see. I'm telling you,
man. Maybe he starts laughing in the daily.
he's like,
oh, there's some goofball off stage there. It's making me crack up. Man, I'm out of it. I don't know. That's an interesting point, and now I got to check it out.
Seriously, shoot me a text, because I'm just curious. I know it's your movie, and I know it's Chris's movie. And listen, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm a little nerd who loves movies. It's just that one shot. I just wish it was held longer.
That's saying that you care about it, and that's what's important to Chris. It's important to everybody, and we don't not listen to those sorts of things. And when people ask me those sorts of questions, that stuff resonates into the next movie I do. If somebody says, why did you go so dark on that, man? Or why did you do this? Or why did you do that? Why did you make it blue? And I think about that stuff.
Yeah.
You look. Ideally, you want to affect everybody, and you want it to be true storytelling, and everything's got to work. But But trust me, I'll be asking him that question.
Well, let me say this, and we're going to get to Brendan Connolly from BleedingCool.com. And Brendan, if you have a question for Wally, before we let him go, that'd be cool as well.
Right.
But I do want to say this. Dark Knight Rises, I know you guys are prepping for that right now. And this is just me, because Dark Knight is just a masterpiece.
I agree.
It really is. It's that.
You want to talk about snubs? That should have been nominated for Best Picture.
I know, God. I mean, don't even get me started. I'm gonna start getting pissed off. Wally, you should have seen me. I was on TV Tuesday morning doing the Oscar nominations, and when they read the director, if they had a camera on me, I literally put my face into the desk. I was like, are you kidding me? So, well, let me say this. So, Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about Christopher Nolan that I just completely, I always say this, is that his use of practical action sequences as opposed to using a lot of CGI. And the Dark Knight with the truck flip, and then Ledger hanging out of that freaking truck and shooting people. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, and this might be a tough question to answer, but how the hell can you guys top that? I mean, I don't know how you're going to top the Dark Knight. I don't know how you do that.
I asked the same question for reading the script, and now, I read the script 2 weeks ago, and he's done it.
He has?
Plain and simple, he's done it.
Oh.
It's a phenomenal script.
All right.
And he's still in the process of cutting it back because it's a very long script right now, but it's really phenomenal. And he actually had me go back, and he wanted me to watch in IMAX Batman Begins and The Dark Knight again. And when I watched that, I walked away, and I had read the script for Dark Knight Rises, and I was like, dude, it is a perfect trilogy. And I think that was his intent, was to work off of those two pictures, and they are very different pictures. And it's funny, we all had different opinions about which picture we liked better. And I think that really came down to, because the craftsmanship is great on both, it really came down to sort of what is your preference and what kind of movie you like and what kind of storytelling. And I really love the sort of face-off between Batman and Joker in Dark Knight.
Is it gonna be as dark? Because I mean, obviously Bale's gonna take home the Oscar for Fighter. I mean, it was just a brilliant performance, and he's already beefing back up for the role. I mean, I saw him I interviewed him a couple weeks ago for the Fighter, and he's like getting big again, and he's like has like long hair. It looks crazy, but. I mean, I know you can't say anything. I know it's very, very secretive, and I know Nolan's very secretive about his scripts.
But what's the ending?
Yeah, what? No.
Well, he's playing it in a dress. That's the only thing I can tell you. He's playing the entire thing in a girl's summer dress.
That sounds fantastic.
Yes.
That's it, They're going down a limb, and maybe, I don't know, maybe he thinks he's going to get another Oscar for that.
Could you imagine if like someone heard that and like thought Wally was serious, and like you
they will. It's going to blow up online, man.
/film.com. Oh my God, it'll be on the internet in 20 minutes.
And Chris Nolan, like, he's like, what?
Wally Pfister says that the next Batman, Christian Bale will wear a dress.
Riffing on, the J. Edgar Hoover movie that's coming up that Clint's doing, and it's an interesting idea. Hey, you know about that? Clint's doing that J. Edgar Hoover movie with Leo, and it's like warts and all, man.
That's gonna be all.
I think the FBI is a little upset about it.
Yeah, I've heard. Brendan, do you have any questions for Wally?
Yeah, I've got a couple actually, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
Of course. How are you, Brendan?
Wally. Good to speak to you. The first one's about this difficult sort of balancing act you've got in your IMAX sequences in Dark Knight, and I assume you'll may do some more in Rises, which is, do you protect for a CinemaScope screen, but are really aiming for the IMAX format, or are you thinking of the sort of the real composition in quotes being the sort of scope one, but you're protecting for IMAX? Do you know what I mean? Which of those two aspect ratios is the primary one, and which is the secondary one?
Well, it's a great question, Brendan, because it's one that I really struggled with on the Dark Knight. And I'll tell you, I'm just going to tell you sort of an interesting anecdote. First of all, with Dark Knight, the first one, is when Chris, proposed to me to shoot it on IMAX. The first thing that came to our minds as we started reviewing materials. Hang on, let me shut up my teenage son here for a second. Hey, dude, I'm on live radio. Can you keep it down a little bit? They don't care. But anyway, so when we were, kind of prepping, and I started, we both started researching, IMAX. Obviously that was the first thing. It was like, okay, look, we're shooting 240 for most of the theaters, and then IMAX is 4:3, this massive, giant, square screen. I said, are we concerned about what's going to happen when we shift back and forth? And with the aspect ratio changing, is that going to jar the audience? Should we, be very conscious of where we make those changes? And so we were in the filming, and then Chris and Lee Smith, once again, if you might recall his name from being the editor who got dissed from his nomination this year. Lee and Chris, when they're cutting Dark Knight together, were very conscious of where that transition should be. The funny thing is, the second we put this up on the IMAX screen, we were all kind of shocked at how seamless the transitions were from the 240 on that massive 100-foot IMAX screen to the complete screen. Now, strangely enough, what you noticed was this huge jump in resolution. In other words, it was sharper, clearer, more contrast. That just blew you away. But in terms of seeing those actual frame lines in the top and the bottom, it went by in almost a peripheral way, because you're kind of focused on the center of the screen. So we were all kind of shocked, and Chris told me about that when they were in the editorial process. And if you watch the beginning of The Dark Knight, you actually see they went for the bat logo, which is this kind of blue flame cloud sort of thing where the bat logo comes out. They actually went to 3-to-1 aspect ratio to exaggerate the first shot, the IMAX shot that begins with that aerial shot heading towards the bank, and then the window blows up. So we were all very surprised that the aspect ratio change sort of blew by a little bit when the film was shown in IMAX. Now, in terms of what I do, Brendan, to answer your question more clearly, in composing for the camera, it's a very difficult thing. When we were shooting IMAX, and we were shooting all those scenes with Heath on the street, and Heath with his head hanging out of the police car, and the Lamborghini chase, and then the entire end sequence inside that building, I have to take my head and I've got to put it where the biggest bang is, and that's definitely the IMAX. So my composition is for IMAX. It's for the 4x3. It's going to go on that 100-foot screen, and then with the mind of protecting for the 240. So to answer your question, I'm always my focus is in putting the biggest event on the screen. So the IMAX was definitely the clear winner there, and where we put our focus.
Brendan, did you have another question?
Yeah, I mean it's just a simple bit of tidying up you may or may not be able to do, but there's just this rumour going around that sounds ludicrous about Robin Williams being in Rises, and you may be in a position to just say, don't be so stupid, and if you are, you can shut up an awful lot of this internet chatter.
It's weird, but I haven't even heard that.
You go Google it. It's about 8 hours old. That's how fresh it is.
Wow. I mean, I was with Chris 8 hours ago, and I certainly didn't hear anything about that, but I have no idea. Look, they have to keep a lot of secret from me anyway. Obviously, Tom Hardy is going to be phenomenal. I can't even tell you how much we loved working with Tom on The Last Picture, and obviously that had such resonance with Chris that he's going to be amazing in this film. And I love the guy personally too, so he's going to be a lot of fun to work with. But I hadn't even heard that rumor. It's so funny, these things that you hear. They were talking about locations, and for a long time there was a rumor going around that we were going to be shooting in New Orleans, and that's not the case. And so people kind of spread rumors. People make things up. People, try to.
Oh, definitely. An awful lot of people make.
But I don't know.
It's always good to sort of stamp it out as soon as possible, I feel.
Sure. But I don't really know. Look, they could turn around and surprise me too. It's happened before. When I saw that list of girls, that we were going to be screen testing before they cast Anne. I was sort of, I didn't know myself who was real and who wasn't until about 2 days before the test when Emma told me. So, they really do. Our machine is so powerfully secretive that we're not allowed to take scripts home with us at this stage.
Do you shoot the screen test yourself?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
So Wally, you shot Anne's screen test for Catwoman?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How is she?
She's phenomenal.
I can't wait.
Well, what was the mindset behind casting her?
Was she asked to come in, or did she audition?
I think she No. I think she wanted to do this.
Wow.
I think this
Who
is
wouldn't?
something that she wanted to show Chris. Look, I'm the one for this job. And it was she did an incredible job. And listen, I saw, she's been in a lot of stuff, and you see her playing, lighter material. But when I saw, Rachel getting married, I was like, yeah, this girl's got amazing chops, man. She is a great actress, and that's what Chris has always done. He's taken great, and then she looked phenomenal in the wardrobe. So it's gonna be amazing with her.
Wally,
Well,
when you shoot the screen test with Anne Hathaway, are you like? Are you like getting in her face with the camera? What are you doing? Like, are you like shooting it like the movie would be shot? How does that work?
We do a little bit of that, but it's really sort of Chris running it, and we didn't really build sets or anything like that. It's just sort of, look, the actors want to show the director what they can do, and prove to the look. You might see me in one way, but here's I want to show you that I can be this character.
Is Chris concerned at all about, obviously, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think Heath Ledger's Joker is probably the greatest villain I've ever seen.
Easily
personally.
probably
one of the
best.
Is he concerned about like being able to top that? And I know Hardy will probably do an amazing job.
Do you
but
have any idea? I'm sorry, Kevin.
I'm just saying, is there any discussion about that? Does he ever express concern about that?
Yeah. Do you have any idea how they're going to handle that?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's. I wouldn't call it concern. I think that to be honest with you, Chris would not have. Chris clearly had the option to do this film or not do this film.
Right.
And honestly, I think that sitting back and trying to decide whether he could top The Dark Knight, and there's in certain areas he needs to top The Dark Knight. And
right.
I think he realizes that, and I think the action sequences have always got to, from one film to the next, have always got to be elevated to the next level. So stand by for that. And then I think that honestly, Chris was able and has the power to be able to make the decision as to whether he wants to do the film or not. And I think that he, once the script and once the story was in a place where he was comfortable that he could put something on the screen that was at least going to be comparable to what he'd put on before, then he was like, okay, let's do this.
And he did it with Inception.
And you can imagine if you're a Warner Brothers executive, as much as it's their studio and they're on the show, obviously they want Chris to do the movie, but I'm certain that Chris said to them, look, I'll do the movie if I can figure out a way to really do justice to what we've done in the past.
I mean, I've said on the show before, and this is before any of this news came out, I was like, maybe Chris just stop after Dark Knight and just do, obviously Inception came out, it was amazing. I mean, by the way, what's Wally's saying here, I really think it sounds like it's going to be awesome.
Here's the problem with these big superhero franchises. I'm sure you guys are going to knock it out of the park with the next movie.
Well, Nolan's
but when Nolan
hasn't been a bad movie.
Yeah, when Nolan leaves and you leave and everyone's gone, they're going to bring in a whole new crew, and Batman has hit its highs and its lows, and it's going to hit another low. It just sucks
not
going
here.
Not here. I'm
Not
talking
with
about
Nolan.
after The Dark Knight Rises. But
you're probably right. I mean, it's like people don't realize how exceptional a director Chris is.
Yeah.
And I've heard other people saying, look, we shoot our own second unit, which is really unheard of in Hollywood. And every big action picture has an entire second unit. I don't know how familiar your audience is with that, but basically on a normal studio action picture, the main unit shoots the principal actors and the principal dialogue and the scenes, and then you have what they call a second unit, which is a separate action director and a stunt coordinator and a cinematographer and stunt players, and they shoot all the action stuff. We have never done that. Ever since Batman Begins, I've shot every frame of the film, and Chris has directed every frame of the film. And I've heard a lot of other directors and I've heard producers talk about, we're going to do this too. We're not going to have a second unit. And my response is, don't try this at home, kids. Because Chris is exceptionally talented in terms of staging action and understanding action, as well as crafting a story, as well as directing actors. And look, this guy is one in a million, man. There ain't that many out there that are as great as he is. And this is kind of what we're talking about in terms of he'll get his, It took Scorsese a long time to get recognized for the Academy. It actually took Spielberg a long time to get recognized by the Academy. He didn't win an Academy Award for directing until '93 with Schindler's List.
It's amazing. By the way, I'm sorry. We told you we were going to do 10 minutes, and we've kept you for
oh no,
almost
this is what
45.
It's the greatest, man.
Well,
No, it's seriously. I could talk to you all day because like this is the kind of stuff that I mean. You pick apart Inception. Like when the first time I watched it for entertainment value. But now I just watch it because I just want to. I'm just blown away by how the process of this movie and just hearing him talk about it is so cool.
Well, look, if we're gonna let him go, I got to get this one thing first. Have you seen the other nominees in your category of cinematography? If you have, who do you think's gonna win? Don't include yourself.
Yeah, like if you weren't in the category, who would you choose?
If you knew you weren't gonna win, who would you pick?
Danny, Jeff, Roger, or Matthew?
Well, listen, I know a lot of these guys. I know Maddie and I know Roger really well, and I gotta say, Roger has been nominated, I think, 9 times now, and his work is so phenomenal and always has been. And he did beautiful work on True Grit. Maddie did gorgeous work on Black Swan as well. His handheld camera is just wonderful.
Yeah.
But I got to say, Roger, man, his work on previous films, and you don't really look at everything else too, but God, the assassination of Jesse James.
Oh, he shot that?
And yeah, Shawshank Redemption.
Oh.
I mean, so it's so Roger's turn. This is my 4th Academy Award nomination, and I'm excited. A lot of people are saying, well, you're due, and it's your turn. It's like, damn, man, Roger's on 9, man.
Right. Do you know? Are you familiar with? Jeff. I know Social Network. You've seen Social Network, right?
Yes, I have. Yes.
That's a beautiful movie.
That's a great movie.
I love the old Harvard tone it has throughout the entire flick. That is some cool lighting that guy did.
It is. Jeff is really, really talented, and he's got. Fincher's always been an incredibly, visual director as well. And,
right.
And I really love the way that looked. I just wish they'd shot it on film. They shot it with like a red camera, and I think film has so much more depth and so much because it's so beautifully lit that it deserves to be, have been photographed on film. But David loves that, using that camera because he can roll for long periods of time. He doesn't have to reload the camera and things like that. But they're a great visual team, and Jeff has got a fantastic eye, and he's a really good guy too. I don't know Danny Cohn at all. I've never met him before. I thought the King's Speech looked good, but like I said, I think that at the top of the heap there's Roger. He's Roger, and he's so overdue. So
it's a beautiful film. It really.
I'd rather lose to somebody who's been on the queue for a long time.
Right. Well, but before we let you go, and I gotta say, just hearing you talk about all these films and the way you shot these things, well, do you? I know you can't say anything, obviously, but you've read The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, if you look back at The Dark Knight, the truck flip. Unbelievable. Yeah. The going through the tunnels, whatever. With the slaughter, the truck, and everything, and then the hospital. I don't understand. I know you can't say anything, but how the hell can you top that? Is there better stuff in this? Is it gonna be practical again?
Well, we're gonna try, man. We're gonna try. Listen, our goal is to shoot, as much in IMAX as we can.
Nice.
Put it on the screen, and we're gonna put it on the screen big. And I really encourage everybody to try to see it in IMAX if they can, because we're really going for it this time and that. And in terms of the action, we are all scratching our heads right now trying to figure out
how you're going to do
how
it,
we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, the amount of time we're going to do it, and the opening scene of the movie will blow your mind.
Now, this comes out summer of 2013, right?
It's a long way.
No, I think it's 2012.
So you guys, you're we gotta let this guy go, but your location scouting, like, what does that mean? You and Chris are just walking around New York City looking for places to shoot?
Well, Chris and Nathan Crowley are, they're all over the place right now, and looking at a lot of, Nathan Crowley is our production designer. He didn't do Inception, but he did Batman Begins and Dark Knight and Insomnia with us, and phenomenal talent. And they're all over the world right now scouting. So, we're looking to find where it fits, and they bring me in to look at things and put my eye on it, and then basically they're scouting. I pop in for a day or two, give them my end of it, and then I pop back out again. And so we don't start shooting for another 4.5 months, 5 months.
Still though, Brendan, do you have a last question for Wally before we let him go?
Oh, there was something Wally said earlier. He said that Anne looks phenomenal in the wardrobe. Wally, are you saying what we think you're saying?
Which is what?
Well, when we say wardrobe here, we don't mean our man who designed it, do we? We mean it's got a certain special design that only one lady would wear. Is that what we're talking about?
Brandon, I get fired and I won't even get to shoot the picture.
Yes, then that is what we're talking about.
We can't say.
I can't really say, but I definitely want to be around next year.
Yeah. We're not
They
trying to
very
get...
pointedly said just Selena Kyle in the press release. But
is that what it said?
There was a little more to it than that.
All that stuff.
That's cool. All right, well listen, we'll let Wally go. Wally, seriously, I hope I didn't offend you with my question about the shot of Leo.
Oh,
my
come
God.
on, man! You guys couldn't offend me.
No, but seriously, can you?
You guys are FM radio, man. You can't offend me.
Yeah, go back and watch that scene. I'm just curious what you think, because like I just really, every time I watch it, I wish there was 2 more seconds of just.
I'm definitely going to go check it out right now.
Yeah.
I'm definitely on it, but always a pleasure talking to you guys. Anytime.
Yeah, dude, it's an honor to having you on, and thank you for your time, man. It's seriously, like everything we talk to you about is always so interesting, and we'd love to get you on again. I know you're going to be out shooting Dark Knight. You just finished Moneyball, right?
I did. Yeah, we shot Moneyball over the summer. I talked to you guys around that time.
Yeah, you were just shooting that, but cool. And anything else lined up for you? What are you doing after Dark Knight Rises?
No, we don't think that far ahead. I guess that I'm on it until Thanksgiving of next year. So Thanksgiving of this year. So it's a long haul. So I don't think that far ahead. But Moneyball is going to be awesome. I ran into a couple of studio executives the other day, and they'd seen a cut, and they're really happy with it. So.
That's going to be awesome. I can't wait. All right, well, Wally, we'll let you go. Thanks for your time, and we'll love to get you on again in the future. And seriously, congratulations on your Academy Award nomination.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Kevin. You guys take care, okay?
All right, see you,
Bye,
buddy.
Wally.
All right,
Bye, Josh.